skeptical about intermittent fasting, then you're in the right spot, because in this video, I'm gonna lay out why fasting is different from calorie restriction and why fasting trumps calorie restriction when it comes to dropping weight. Wanna get healthy while working a 9 to 5 that's never 9 to 5? Then click this button right here to get notified for videos to help you do just that. Now, back to fasting. Hi, I'm Erica Ballard, workplace wellness expert and founder of the B Method. And I love talking about intermittent fasting because for most of my life, I thought it was bullshit. Because I was a lifelong calorie counter, fat avoider, and food pyramid subscriber, even though none of that stuff ever worked for me. Because like most people who are desperate to drop weight and get healthy, I was blinded by my own desperation and refused to believe that the methodology was the issue. In fact, I could only fathom that I was the issue, that I was the problem, until I wised up after, of course, decades of pain, torture, and self-hatred, and a few awesome years of studying people who actually looked and lived the life I wanted to live. And interestingly, all of them intermittent fasted, be it for 12 hours or 24 plus. Yet none of them counted calories or promoted that methodology because they knew calorie restriction doesn't work. And of course they knew that because they studied calorie restriction and found, as I have, that calorie restriction has a failure rate of 98%. That's a high number, and homie, that high number isn't because you suck and have no willpower. You've been conditioned to think that's why, but for just a second, remove yourself from the situation and think about it this way. If a drug failed to produce its intended results 98% of the time, it would never make it to market. And if it did, you would never try it. But here we are 50 plus years later, still trying to promote calorie restriction as the thing to do to drop weight, even though we know it has a 98% failure rate and we know why its failure rate is that high, which is that calorie restriction doesn't address insulin resistance, which is the root cause of obesity for most of us. And that right there is what makes fasting and calorie restriction so different. One addresses the root cause of obesity, i.e. insulin resistance and the reduction of insulin in the body, and one does not. Put another way, fasting addresses the root cause of obesity and calorie restriction does not, which is why one works long term and one does not. Because contrary to what you've been sold for years, it's not calorie restriction that affects our body's ability to burn fat, but rather the amount of insulin in our systems. Which is why to burn fat, we need to focus on reducing insulin in our body instead of reducing the number of calories we put in our bodies. The science of this explains the phenomenon of weight gain during a calorie restriction diet, by the way, because if you were listening close enough, what I just said explains that eating carbs and sugar on a calorie restriction diet still increases the amount of insulin circulating in your body and subsequently increases insulin resistance in your body too. And like I just said, you have to reduce insulin in your body to drop weight. If you do the opposite of that, you'll get the opposite result, i.e. you'll get more fat in your body. Which again is why fasting works and calorie restriction does not for fat burn, because fasting reverses the amount of insulin circulating in your system by way of keeping insulin levels low for extended periods of time. And the intermittentness, or rather the intermittent nature of intermittent fasting, helps to prevent or reverse the development of insulin resistance within the body by essentially keeping your body on its metaphorical toes. Now, as I say all of that, I can hear myself, and I know this shit is complicated and intricate because your body is complicated and intricate. That being said, the takeaway here isn't complicated or intricate. Fasting works and calorie restriction doesn't because one reduces insulin and insulin resistance in the body and the other doesn't, which means one will help you drop fat in the long run and the other won't. Now, with all of that being said, long intermittent fasts like the 14, 16, 24 hour plus fast, they aren't for everyone. They might not be for you. To find out, check out this video right here. And as always, if you like this video and want to see more like it, go ahead and like it and hit the button to subscribe so you can be notified when new videos drop on Friday.